That was an absolutely wonderful fallout from AEW Full Gear. It has really justified. This feels like a reset in the AEW ecosystem. But I digress. It was Wednesday night, and you know what that means. Hello, once again, everybody. Welcome back to my Simple brand. You know what this is, for I am the Simple Man, and my name is Noah Foster. I hope that you all had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I wish you all the safest in your Black Friday shopping and journeys. And with that, I'm here to give you an AEW Dynamite Thanksgiving Eve recap and review. Of course, this is being recorded, well, you guessed it, beyond Wednesday, because it was a holiday. But I'm uploading it now as you look at this on Friday. So without further ado, let's get right into it. So, of course, this episode of AEW Dynamite emanated from the Wintrust Arena in Chicago, Illinois. Commentary provided, of course, by Excalibur Taz and Tony Schiavone. And we kicked things off with Hostile Territory, which definitely was basically a formula for the night, as the villainous gentleman himself, Lord William Regal, came out to explain necessarily the actions that fell out from Full Gear and talked about how Maxwell Jacob from MJF is not here. But apparently he and MJF have had communications via email very recently ahead of the activities that happen in AEW Full Gear. As Maxwell Jacob Freedom apparently is on a movie set, he will be back next week on AEW Dynamite to address his worshippers and his haters galore, as we now enter the era of AEW, ruled under the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, MJF, but not without retribution or revenge to be sought after, as a furious, fuming, apoplectic Jon Moxley came to the ring, Regal standing his ground, as scowl as ever, and I was like, this is not going to end well. Of all the voices of reason to come forward, though, Bryan Danielson, who literally tried to make Jon Moxley look at himself, figure out the example when it comes to your mistakes. What do you want to be looked at by your family, particularly your daughter? Can she forgive you for the burdens and the troubles you may have caused her, just like Lord William Regal taught me how to forgive my father for those same troubles and faults that pushed me away from him for so long. Yet he encouraged me, taught me humility, to love him for the last 10 years that I know him. From a son who lost a father to a father who now has a daughter. All the adversity aside, look at yourself, figure out what you're doing tonight. Don't hurt this man. I love him more than anything else on the planet. Bryan Danielson pouring his heart out, being the voice of reason, saving William Regal from what could have been his last time standing, as he literally was about to explode, go unfringe. Jon Moxley grit his teeth, took the mic, and almost like a quote from the Lion King, run. Run as far away as you can. Never return. As Lord William Regal simply was told to walk and never be in the same ecosystem as Jon Moxley again. Well, vacation be damned. Woo! And this crowd was like, yes, we want to see them fight. I love Chicago, man. I got to go to Chicago one of these days for a wrestling show. That's on my bucket list. Let's go ahead and dissect this a little bit, shall we? Because this was just the kick off to the fallout from Full Gear. Jon Moxley has a personal vendetta against William Regal. Bryan Danielson saved Regal from probably losing his life, because Jon Moxley was ready to tear him friggin' apart. And Regal has these health issues that literally could end him in the slightest, it seems. As it seemed to me, commentary was a bit torn between this two, with Taz, Excalibur, and Tony Schiavone talking about, get away from these actions and just, get us scot-free. I mean, he cost him the championship. I mean, where do you draw the line? It's one of those things, though, where I feel like right now Bryan Danielson says, save him for me. Will Jon Moxley now take out his hostilities on Bryan Danielson if this happens again? Have we seen the last of William Regal? And again, the case should be damned. The bottom line is this: Jon Moxley is a very angry man. I would not want to be in the same ring as him. And I think this thing is far from over. I feel it only has just begun. And based on this so-called email we might learn about, particularly from Master Jacob Freeman next week, there's still some stuff yet to be finished that's undone. Oofa magoofa. Sheesh. As we move on from there, we go backstage to Keith Lee, who, of course, was back there talking about what happened back at Full Gear. But before we really could get anything regarding what's next for him, in comes Swerve. And this is when you truly know something is more than just storytelling. This feels personal. Swerve, cover the camera. As Keith Lee warned him, choose your words wisely. And we cut away. What was the scope of that conversation? Was there any physical altercation? And what is next, respectively, for both Swerve and Keith Lee? Now it feels like permanently separately. I'm very curious to find out where both men go from here. As we move on from there, I like this shirt. Well, apparently Jake Hager really likes his purple bucket hat, as we had a fun little comedy match, and this is what you expect with freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy, who defended the AEW All Atlantic Championship against the Jericho Society's Jake Hager. And Jake Hager, again, for the few appearances that he does show up in singles, he delivers. It was a pretty game fight, but definitely you don't mess with that man's purple hat. And Orange Cassidy, the best friends, found that out the hard way. As the Jericho Society, I'm of course talking about Angelo Parker, Daddy Matthew Matt Menard, and Daniel Garcia, who of course prevented Orange Cassidy from even putting on the hat, despite the fact Jake Hager put on the glasses in the very beginning. Some good back and forth, some tomfoolery around the apron on the outside. Jake Hager got rocked, but planted freaking Orange Cassidy. Went for the Hager bomb with the hat on, felt empowered, wasn't enough. And at one point, Orange Cassidy, in the end, he finally hit the orange punch, but Hager did not go down. However, he was disoriented enough for Orange Cassidy to trap him in a pinning attempt, and that allowed Orange Cassidy to once again retain the AEW All Atlantic Championship. It's one of those things where I think Jake Hager, he is still undefeated, I believe, in MMA, but honestly, he still is a very good wrestler. And this was a fun little TV match. I didn't expect a title change, but there's no argument that Orange Cassidy has been a very entertaining and a very game fighting champion. We'll see who picks the fight next. Meanwhile, as we have Rocker Mel and the best friends, of course, Chuck Taylor, Trent Beretta, and Orange Cassidy about to embrace it because you got to give the people what they want. Oh, good grief. Why does QT Marshall have to show up and ruin everything? Also, botch with the graphics department and the lighting grid, as QT looked like he had some unfinished business with the best friends after what happened during the buy-in at AEW Full Gear. It looked like it was going to be a 5-on-4 assault as we had the factory in full force. Except the lights go out. And I'm like, okay, wait, what's going on here? We got electrical issues here. This is the second time it's happened now. Go to the stage, and there is the Dark Empress herself, Julia Hart. I wondered if this was going to happen at AEW Full Gear. It was not meant to be there. But Wednesday night, the House of Black rise and destroyed everybody, it seemed. Starting with the best friends and then the factory, who seemed to applaud at first. They got obliterated too. And then we had some enhancement talent and staff getting caught on the stage. And at one point in the end, we had Dante's Inferno, Gonzabon kick combination by Buddy Matthews and Brody King as the House of Black stood in full on the stage, much to Julia Hart's approval as she hands the mic off to the newly returned Malachi Black. I'm glad to see these guys head together. At the end of the day, folks, wrestlers are people too. Can't stress enough, protect your mentality. As Malachi Black came forward with the simple message, members of the House of Black, please rise. It is about damn time. So the House of Black is back. And apparently their reinvention of destruction they want to bring forward, rising from the ashes, is against everybody. There is no safe target, it feels like here. But I gotta wonder, since Malachi Black was involved in the fatal four-way inaugurated for the AEW All Championship and falling short, does this mean now that he will challenge Orange Cassidy next? And could he be our next AEW All Atlantic champion? When I thought that the House of Black were going to go after the Trios titles and maybe be the initial thoughts to go for there, I was wrong. And again, I also still really, really want to see House of Black confronted by Butcher, Blade, and the Bunny. Imagine that program. Just think about that. Brody King and Buddy Matthews versus the Butcher and the Blade, with Julia Hart and the Bunny somehow playing their part in the shadows too. Could be an interesting singles match too. I'm just very happy to see this incredible act back on my TV screen. So much potential. Love the showcase. Incredible dynamic across all four. And above all else, it's just good to know that Malachi Black is in a better place. So members of the House of Black, you got to ask yourself, what's next? We'll find out soon. If Orange Cassidy remembers that he got his lights knocked out too. Damn. As we move on from there, it was time for our AEW World Title Eliminator Tournament Finals. That's all Eagle Ethan Page endorsed and welcomed in by Stokely Hathaway. He, of course, took on a guy that is all about absolutes. And, of course, I am talking about Absolute Ricky Starks, who did not come in here at 100%. But, again, it was Babyface Match 101. The guy fighting from underneath, despite his injuries. As all Evil Get Page definitely let his ego come into play and took control for most of the match here. Ricky Starks was able at one point to finally fight from underneath and at the risk of his own well-being, hit a spear that knocked both Cam and Ethan Page the win out of them. Not enough to capitalize, though, for the fall, as both men are on the outside. Ethan Page grabbing his midsection now, where Ricky Starks is still clutching for air, it seems. They finally get back into the ring, and Ethan Page looks for the Rage's Edge, but that gets countered. Ricky Starks continues to fight back, looks for Rochambeau, but is unable to do it. Again, he was literally bandaged up completely. The further work done by Brian Cage during the AEW Full Gear buy-in. And towards the very end, Ethan Page, his ego got the better of him as he got another spear and another emphatic spear. Two back-to-back follow-up, and finally, it was the absolute last need for Ricky Starks to succeed. And ladies and gentlemen, that means that we have a fully grown, organic, internal AEW World Championship match and program to come at Winter is Coming. It will be Absolute Ricky Starks versus Maxwell Jacob Freeman for the AEW World Heavyweight Championship next month at Winter is Coming. The promo battles that these two are going to bring forward over the next, 2 to 3 weeks, I believe, because December is coming, is on the 14th. So we got 2 weeks to build into this. It's going to be something very unique, and I absolutely can't wait for this. But I will say this, though. For me, Ethan Page, highly underrated. And I'm glad to see that both he and Ricky Starks got a TV match. Hopefully this means that Ethan Page will be better showcased going forward. But right now, with the firm kind of being a non-factor to what was kind of a lackluster go-home into the pay-per-view, I'm not sure where we go from here. Maybe they'll build a promo with him and Matt Hardy based on what I saw on Dark. But we'll have to wait and see. And overall, I am looking very forward to Ricky Starks absolutely bringing his A game in and out of the ring against Maxwell Jacob Freeman. As we move on from there, Wardlow has finally realized what happened to him back at the pay-per-view, despite the road to being in pure anger. He realizes what Joe did. He capitalized on his work against Powerhouse Hobbs, snuck in and stole the gold. But as far as he's concerned, this is still Wardlow's world. Mr. Mayhem wants his strap back. Watch your back, Samoa Joe. Not much more to say there, but again, with Final Battle around the corner and Samoa Joe right now being the promo spokesperson for the commercial, let alone on the front of the banner, he might be defending one of those two titles against Wardlow. Just saying. We'll have to wait and see, though. As we go from there, I do not care about this. Little Bow Wow is irrelevant to me. But I will say this, Jade Cargill still is that bitch. And she got her baddies back. Congratulations, Red Velvet. Welcome back. I'm glad to know that maybe you're cleared enough from an injury, at least be back on screen. And Carol Hogan, you apparently failed to hold up your end of the deal. You're fired. Doja King, as I said, Layla Gray, she's not only been the one that's been taking the bumps, she's been bringing more to the game. Kiera Hogan was officially fired, courtesy of Smart Mark Sterling on behalf of Jade Cargill, signing a release agreement. Kiera Hogan is no longer a baddie. She is now waiting for further work, and I'm sure she's looking into whoever might be hiring. Tough break. Oh, well, that being said, Jade Cargill, Red Velvet, and Layla Gray, they were out on the town in Chi-Town, and then we'll see what's next for the TBS champion maybe in the weeks to come. As far as Kiera Hogan, maybe she'll try and go after Jade herself. That'd be an interesting sub-tangent. You know, disgruntled employee looking to go after their boss. We'll see. As we move on from there, it was the best of 7 series continuation as the Elite challenged Death Triangle in the second match of 7. And boy, did Chicago let their voices be known. I love the fact that AEW doesn't filter. It's 100% organic, and you just deal with the reaction that you get. In the Elite, they went on with it the entire match as they were booed out the building, chanted F, and other, verbal hostilities. And they just egged on the audience as the Death Triangle welcome in as the baby faces. And now apparently Pac has a broken nose, shades of Brandon Cutler, after what happened back to him at Full Gear. And I was wondering, okay, how do these 6 men reinvent what they did at Full Gear in such a short span of time? Well, you use the crowd for heat and you do a whole lot of different Cazadora type maneuvers, it feels like here too. At one point, literally, the Young Bucks egging on, doing the punk shot lariat with the botch fall. It's like, oh, no, man, we can still get it done with our own way. But also, we saw initially how Kenny Omega confronted Rey Fenix, who, of course, got the win in the best 7 series that became to be back at Full Gear using the bell hammer. Kenny Omega didn't forget about it. There was a very hostile start in the very front. Then Pac came in. Pac, of course, wearing that Apple fixture was definitely coming to play here. At one point, though, the Elite literally ripped it off his face and then hit him with a BT trigger. Still not enough, and somehow the Lucha Bros were able to break up the fall. And as the Young Bucks continued to just egg on the audience for all their chance, at one point, Kenny Omega, he even did the go to sleep on the Rise of the Terminator type setup. But of course, he didn't do the Rise of the Terminator. At one point, though, what really was, I thought, man, nuclear heat, if that would have won off that. Kenny Omega hits the GTS on Pac, but still not enough. As this crazy 6-way melee continued to unfold with Don Callis and commentary, the Young Bucks look to take a page right out of the Death Triangle's playbook with a bell hammer. And as Matt Jackson looked to ring the head of, I believe it was the Bastard Pac, Penta came in the back door with Cyril Mielo. Ding! And knocked Mac Jackson out cold. That allowed the Death Triangle now to be up 2-0 against the Elite. Your boys are down, Don Callis. What you going to do here? And I guess turnabout's fair play. Rey Fenix, though, again, still kind of torn and conflicted. I don't think he's even satisfied with what he did back at Sunday, despite the fact they still are Trios champions. And keep in mind, whoever wins the best of 7 series will be truly the Trios champions. This is for the Death Triangle to pull away the Elite once and for all, and they're already 2-0. But is Rey Fenix satisfied with the way right now that Death Triangle are winning? Once again, as Pac alluded to and talks about, by any means necessary. And again, Brandon Cutler, he tried to play Death Triangle's game. It didn't work. And Alexander Hantes, the hype guy, definitely helped here too. I gotta wonder if Alex agrees with these tactics as well. Right now, the Triangle, though, still holding the Trios gold, and they're right now 2-0. So again, I got to ask myself, will this actually go all the way to 7, or could we simply see a sweep all the way to winner is coming? This is a unique dynamic to set up for what could be the Trios titles directions. And again, Carol Weber's son, still an awesome fame, but the crowd, they were not feeling it. And again, it was more like just egging on heat, really, because at the end of the day, AEW, they were having a hell of a good time. And Chicago, they let their voices be known. That is a professional wrestling city right there. But overall, really good match. Once again, curious how they change it up. And if the last member of the Elite will get brained, Nick Jackson, by maybe Pac. Because at this point, 2 members of the Elite have been brained by 2 members of the Death Triangle. Just saying. Or will the Elite use that to their own advantage and finally brain one of the members of Death Triangle? I don't know. But they better come up with some sort of game plan, Don Callis. Just saying. The Invisible Hand. All right. As we move on from there, we go towards introducing the AEW Women's World Champion. And we now can take a breath of fresh air and properly say that the division is finally defined, as Renee Paquette was on the stage and has informed us that AEW has come with a mutual agreement and decision with Thunder Rosa that we have to relinquish the championship. Therefore, Jamie Hayter is now truly the AEW Women's World Champion, and Toni Storm will be recognized as a previous AEW Women's World Champion. No more interim! No more interim champions in AEW as of this moment. Glory to this day. As we look to get worse, the new champion, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, took the mic, made it about herself. Go figure. As we prepare for a fun little six-way with the women's division. 3 sets of 2 teams. Or three sets of 2. It's really hard, triple threat tag team match. There we go. As we, of course, have Ty J AS, because of course the European Society, taking on the duo of Will Nightingale, Chicago's own Sky Blue. Seriously, give Will Nightingale and Sky Blue an interest next time on TV. They deserve that. And of course, we go down to the ring as the champ makes her way to the ring, as Jamie Hayter tags with her best friend, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD. And for the time they got, it was okay. It was a nice 6-way melee. Definitely, though, you could see how Ty J was trying to take advantage. Jamie Hayter, though, power coming into play. Nice double suplex. At one point, though, again, only 2 of them were legal. Britt makes a desperate tag out to Willow, who takes control here. And then next thing you know, everyone's kicking each other down, from a boot kick to a pump kick to a big boot to a thrust kick. All 4 women down here. And as we go to restaurant quality, picture, because that's what they do. Stop that. Basically, we go from there and we see Ty JAS butting heads and verbal jabs alongside Dr. Baker DMD and Jamie Hayter too. But Sky Blue, last one on the outside, not illegally in the match, she decided to make her presence be known. That's what you do, girl. She goes to the top rope, cross body, takes everybody out, and goes on the offense. Nice kick combination with the roundhouse roll through rebound, and Sky Blue nearly getting the victory here. But unfortunately, Ty JS tried to come in a picture, take advantage, do their own form of entertaining. Didn't work as they got taken out. And next thing you know, Jamie Hayter and Dr. Britt Baker, they capitalized on that after Jamie with the ridiculous backbreaker. But I guess she called the hate maker or something like that. Seriously, do you have to put her name into the moves, Excalibur? Is this what you call it? This is what you choose. I'm just saying. Meanwhile, backbreaker over the knee and Dr. Baker curb stomp, planting. I mean this too. Planting Sky Blue's head into the mat, and Dr. DMD picks up the 1, 2, 3 as her and Jamie Hayter celebrate their continued momentum and that night's victory. But again, Britt sees the prize, and Jamie Hayter welcomes the idea of her being a rival. So let's just put that in perspective and put a pin on it as we head into 2023. I feel like New Year's Smash is going to have more of a meaning in its name this year. Just saying. But good stuff. And again, I like the fact that the women's division was being showcased. Again, Sky Blue continues to grow. Again, highly underrated in her own right. I still don't have the official All Elite graphic, but she's come a long way since being a part of AEW. And previously, she has challenged Jamie Hayter one-on-one in a game TV match. I think that would be a fun little feud to start off or be part of Jamie Hayter's title reign too. We will see how Jamie Hayter rises to the occasion now as the AEW Women's World Champion. But don't be surprised if Dr. Baker DMD tries to make a friendly suggestion. Just saying. Good stuff. And seriously, time mellow. Wrestle more, less other activities. All right. As we move on from there, we go backstage as we have Top Flight with the top guys themselves, 7-star FTR, and they talk about how much they appreciate those guys and respect them. But also FTR, they also understand that Top Flight, they're still very young, they're hungry. Them and AR Fox had a great trio showing. But Top Flight also were not just there backstage to kind of respect. They also wanted a chance at one of those sets of championships. So they suggested, why not test their flight against their ground and pound? So now it's official. We have Top Flight, Darius and Dante Martin taking on FTR, Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler for the Ring of Honor World Tag Team Championships this Friday on AEW Rampage Black Friday, which of course you will see later today following this video, if you choose to, on TNT. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I gotta stress this enough. This week's episode of AEW Rampage today comes to us 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's right. 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, AEW Rampage Black Friday special. So adjust your clocks accordingly and try and get your shopping done early. So that's all I gotta say about that. And also, we go from there. Yo, listen, as the Acclaimed arrive, still the AEW Tag Team Champions, with fully able to scissor Daddy Ass. And as they were about to scissor, well, here comes some party poopers. As Jay Lethal, Satnam Singh, and Sanjay Dutt, they look to stop the fun and shenanigans. Because, of course, their names were brought up in a way. And as we know, Jeff Jarrett, he tries to warn them that I'll sing a different tune for you. But I guess Billy Gunn, he still has more stock here as he literally cut them off the screen. And yes, folks, it got weird in Chicago. Happy scissoring. So it looks like we have a sub-tangent program being set up in the meantime for the AEW Tag Team Champions before FTR inevitably, I feel like, finally gets their chance to become 8-star. I guess Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett? I feel like Jay Lethal and Satnam Singh is a better bet, but that's just me. Especially since Satnam Singh's been more preserved in tag team matches. Just saying. As we go from there, we talk about what's ahead in AEW. As again, the reset in the ecosystem truly continues. And next week on AEW Dynamite, we will hear from the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion, Maxwell Jacob Freeman. And the best of 7 series continue with match number 3, the Elite down 2-0. Can they stop the hat trick? Or is the Elite pretty much just going to continue on this no record show? Tough break. We'll see what happens. But of course, this Friday, special edition AEW Rampage, Black Friday, we have the following setup. FTR will defend the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships against Top Flight. We also will hear from the Ocho, Chris Jericho, if he retains the title. We also will have Hikaru Shida in action. There's a program waiting to happen. Anthony Henry will also be back in action, taking on Darby Allin 1-on-1. And the Dark Orders, Preston Vance, John Silver, and Alex Reynolds will collide with Rouge and the Butcher and the Blade. The Bunny will be there. Yeah, Allie. Get well soon, Allie. But, of course, we have to go now to our main event of the evening. As the Ocho, Chris Jericho defends the Ring of Honor World Championship. Bobby Cruz in the introduction, Iva Kabani on commentary against the Stone Pit Bull, Tomohiro Ishii, where these two have 25 years worth of history, going back to literally the time that Chris Jericho was basically junior heavyweight. And here's the thing. In an Ishii match, this guy is the definition of strong style. His performance, his presence, his resistance to pain, and his embracement of it. The way he carries himself, the way he challenges you, that is what it means to be in the toughest damn fight of your life against the Stone Pit Bull Tomohiro Ishii 2. And Chris Jericho learned that bloody hell hard way, as Aubrey Edwards was our official, as 80% of this match was probably, you guessed it, shops. But we learned how stiff, how hard, how tough the Stone Pit Bull can literally rip a man's chest like he's cutting through meat, as literally Chris Jericho was bleeding extremely. Yeesh. Things really changed, though, finally in Chris Jericho's favor when he garnered some momentum when he finally got the Stone Pit Bull on the ropes as they're going for the Wrecking Ball triangle drop kick, but Ishii blocked it. Next, you know, both men are on the apron, and he spikes Ishii, compressing his neck and head on the apron with a ridiculous DDT. But again, the conditioning of the participants and athletes in New Japan, and I like to thank Stardom that degree too, the way that they condition themselves to take those type of bumps, that type of pressure, and hyperextend their necks on like pinning combinations. Hello, Kota Ibushi. Again, though, that was just freaking nasty. At one point, Chris Jericho, though, he goes for a follow-up lariat combination into the lion salt. Ishii was down, but Ishii kicked out at 1. And the way that Ishii sold himself when it came to his conditioning, as if you got him down for a moment, you think he's vulnerable. Chris Jericho couldn't freaking believe it. As Tomohiro Ishii came back with a ridiculous layer of his own, nearly claimed the goal to become, I believe they said, the 30th Ring of Honor World Champion. And as this match continued to unfold, Ishii looked for the ace in the hole. That is the vertical drop brainbuster. But Chris Jericho countered and finally trapped him in the walls. As he looked at Ishii, who refused to tap or submit, Ishii then found himself in the Lion Tamer, high angled knee on the back of the neck. As Ishii looked up at Jericho, gave him one last emphatic bird, and Jericho added enough pressure from there to finally submit the Stone Pit Bull in what has to be his toughest match since being the Ocho, and maybe one of his toughest matches in his career to date. Because that's what happens when you take on Tomohiro Ishii. It is the fight of your freaking life. I will say this. 2022 might be the greatest year in Chris Jericho's 30 practically plus career. You figure about what he's done in AEW with European Society, how he kicked things off with the program of Eddie Kingston, what he's done with the Ring of Honor World title, most recently, particularly in these last 2 matches that had no tomfoolery, no shenanigans, not even Floyd the baseball bat came into play. He won honorably, despite the fact he's trying to besmirch the 20-year legacy of the Ring of Honor World Championship in his own image. Either way, honor, respect the Ocho, because Chris Jericho still holds the Ring of Honor World Championship gold. And as far as Ishii goes, he is a guy that no matter what will fight you within an inch of his damn life. And despite the fact he had the worst number 8 championship match in history against a guy we will not name because he is a blemish on New Japan Pro Wrestling now, ruining and desecrating the sport, bleh, he has had incredible affairs with the likes of Jonah, Steve Macklin, Josh Alexander, Eddie Kingston, twice. And now Chris Jericho. Ishii is by far one of the most underrated candidates this year for Wrestler of the Year, in my opinion, in this industry. And that's up there with Dax Harwood, Speedball Mike Bailey, and I'd say Chris Jericho at this point because of the work ethic that he's put in and the matches he's brought forward. That was tremendous, but honestly, all I got to say after that, one more thing. Chris Jericho, dear God, I hope your chest is okay. That was scary. I thought he was going to pass out. How much blood can a man lose? Just saying. As he goes up to the stage, and Ian Riccaboni even talks about how Jericho, the last couple of times, including at Full Gear, he has won through honorable means. Jericho has not forgotten that Ian Riccaboni still represents what Jericho is trying to destroy. But before he could go after him, out from behind, Claudio drops the Ocho. And it looks like Claudio Castagnoli and Chris Jericho still may have one more final battle ahead of them for the Ring of Honor World title. I'm just saying. As we go off the air, that was your AEW Dynamite Full Gear Fallout Thanksgiving Eve special. And I have to say, that's professional wrestling, damn it. Tremendous show where it feels like so much right now is being looked at. What could be next for a lot of the organics in AEW. And everything right now feels fresh. Nothing really left to chance. I gotta imagine when Toni Storm's gonna come back and try and get a rematch for the AEW Women's World Championship. And Thunder Rosa, thank you, gracias, la mera. Get well soon. I'm sure she's gonna definitely fight back from underneath, try and go after. I wouldn't mind seeing maybe a triple threat with Hikaru Shida, Thunder Rosa, and Toni Storm for #1 contendership towards Jamie Hayter and the title. Or does Hikaru Shida, maybe her win this Friday, push her forward towards maybe challenging Jamie Hayter? Because those two have a ton of bitter history of themselves, and that'll be another interesting program. How much longer will Britt Baker continue to support her friend before going after what her friend has? Will this Best of Series actually go all the way to Game 7 as my brother, shout out to King, A-Train, Anthony, talked about? Maybe it's like NBA playoffs type thing here. When you think about the scouting, the approach, the gameplay mentality, and how that changes. Although this is much different than just going with a basketball up and down the court, I imagine. And, of course, Ishii will continue fighting, but will the Ocho be dethroned of the Ring of Honor Gold, maybe at Final Battle? I don't know. And also, watch out, Joe. Just saying. And we'll see how Ricky Starks continues to try and bring forward absolute results as he prepares for his AEW World Championship match at Winter is Coming. And what will Maxwell Jacob Friedman say when he arrives as the AEW World Champion? So much to look forward to. And with the House of Black once again back on the rise, best friends, oh boy, you got a lot of enemies now that are coming up against you, both sides. It was just a really great show. Awesome crowd. Definitely were fully invested in this thing. Let their voices be known. That's Chicago. And honestly, I think the fallout was more worthwhile, productive, and progressive than the actual go home. So kudos to Tony Khan, turning things around, falling the pay-per-view after what was amazing pay-per-view. I really enjoyed this show. I really don't got nothing else to say besides that. I feel like at this point, though, I just got one more thing to think about, though. Where is the Redeemer? I'm just saying. And that's all I got for now with this simple AEW Dynamite Thanksgiving Eve recap and review. Thank you for tuning in, too. And if you want to know more about me, know this. I am just a simple man and a lifelong fan who likes this shit. I don't own a purple bucket hat, by the way. Lifelong fan of professional wrestling. Damn it. But I digress. Find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Twitter's still alive, folks. Get over yourselves. The day it dies, we'll worry about it then, all right? Nobody panic. Find me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube, and Foster 1916 for all things wrestling. Shout out, of course, to my entire AEW family on the Twitter. We might come together before year's end to talk about our moments, rants, and so much other fun things, too, and all things wrestling. Stay tuned for more on that right here on the Simple YouTube channel, and maybe courtesy of FTW Productions, too. Stay tuned. I will be back with the Jet Mission Network, as always, for my night, but bringing you play-by-play coverage and reactions for not only Varsity's War Games, but, of course, what's to come with the Final Battle, Ring of Our Final Battle, and NXT Deadline. Not my NXT! Prove me wrong. But I digress. Although Ava Reigns definitely got potential. And, of course, I'll be back with an AEW Rampage Black Friday recap review because it really does seem like these all-elite little videos, they're fun to do, and you all enjoy them, too, and I appreciate the support. But as always, I'd like to conclude, there are no winners, no losers, no betters. They're just fans with opinions for this passion we all share. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, protect your mentality, too, and treasure your families. I hope you all did that during Thanksgiving. And just enjoy life and enjoy professional wrestling. It's as simple as that. With that being said, thank you so much for tuning in. Please like, subscribe, comment, and tell a friend. Hit the bell as this video goes live or on demand on this channel. And then subscribe button. Help me keep growing this channel. Shout out to all 259 of you who's been this fun YouTuber creation journey. It's not name up anytime soon. I'll try and bring forward more recorded content with a balance of live panels as well. And stay tuned for the next student predicting this Friday, 10 of time, 5 p.m. Standard Time, live with me and the NoDQ Galaxy and maybe FTW Productions too, as we discuss Survivor Series War Games ahead of the SmackDown Go Home too. Well, that's it. So until next time, it is Black Friday. So you know what that means. We got an early Rampage again, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships and more. I hope that your shopping goes well, no matter where you go and what store. And as always, no matter what day of the year it is, make a positive impact in life and have a good night. AEW Dynamite and AEW, I feel, is getting better. And whether we want to say it or not, I think we know it. This is just a start. I can't wait to see what's next, as winter is coming.